Wow. What can you say to that, Chris?
Incredible, isn't it?
Inclusivity, diversity, that has got to be our future for our sector. It's the right thing to do, but actually I'm sure we will get so much innovation coming out of that future. And that's actually today. Who knew? Thank you so much for that, Mads. That was amazing. As we start to wrap up now, we are going to have a final panel session. We're going to do some Q&A. And we're delighted to have back, who have we got? We've got Ben, we've got Colette, we've got Helen and Syed. Welcome back, folks. We're nearly there, nearly done. This is the hard bit because we've got some really hard questions for you. We want to squeeze every bit of value. Chris.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been great. Thank you for everybody's input. There's been so many questions. It's been difficult, so we're not going to ask everybody's questions, but we've got some really good ones. I'm going to kick off. Ben, I'm going to bring in you first, if I may, and talk about something. So, the FireEyes data breach. What do you think, Ben, about the cybersecurity industry's reaction to last year's FireEyes data breach, which was a little bit different? You know, generally, I gather data breaches can be seen negatively. The FireEyes breach reaction from the cybersecurity industry was a little bit different.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think, obviously, there was a lot of praise for the way that Kevin Mannion and FireEyes responded, the transparency, the openness that they demonstrated, and I think has sort of followed, with Microsoft and other organisations since. I think there is definitely a divide emerging in the industry between, well, not a divide. There's definitely a sensibility which is a very positive towards organisations that, I guess, to coin another person's phrase, use the kind of the black box thinking. So very open about what's happened, why it happened, and what they've learned from it, such that other organisations can benefit from that knowledge. And I think in FireEyes, it allowed lots of organisations to respond and shore up their own defences in a way that maybe reduced the impact of further damage. And I think that's definitely to be applauded. Versus the kind of the traditional approach, which is obviously to kind of close shop and not talk very much on the hope that that everything will blow over. So I think there is what was previously the way that the security industry and community responded is now becoming more commonplace and more broadly accepted as the right way to behave. I think in other circumstances, perhaps had FireEyes been successfully attacked by someone less capable, as a sort of as a state actor, as is the kind of common understanding, then would they have been so open and transparent about it if there was any sense that they might have been negligent in some way? I don't know, but that's probably the true test of this particular approach.
I've got a question here from Kurt. If I could maybe ask you, Colette, how often do you find cyber criminals entering via encrypted channels, and how do you address this whilst maintaining compliance with GDPR?
I'm not sure that's a question for me. Can you double check?
Okay, shall we go to anyone else? Maybe Helen, do you want to try that one? Have we stumped you all? Shall I ask it again?
Yeah.
So it's, how often do you find cyber criminals entering via encrypted channels?
I don't know.
We need to ask the audience. I mean, maybe to make it more general.
Ben's got a view. Come on, Ben.
I'll step in and try and do my best. I don't think we see so much attacks happening through encrypted channels, although of course that's possible. I think what the much more commonplace is actors that already have a presence in an environment using encrypted channels to communicate out to command and control or to exfiltrate data. Because obviously it's a much easier and less obvious way of being of acting on a network, particularly if your communications look ostensibly like legitimate communications that would be originating from that network to the internet. And I think there's been a long question around, do you decrypt at the edge in order to understand the traffic that's coming in and out of your network? my own personal view is this is quite an outdated view of how a network should be designed or architected and delivered. You should, if you're relying on a kind of traditional on-premise environment where your boundary protections are the kind of be-all and end of your security posture, then I think you probably need to kind of update your thinking a little and think slightly more imaginatively, and obviously if you're in the cloud like we are in Sage, then that whole paradigm is completely different. So anyway, my answer is really, I think the issue is actors already in your network using encrypted channels to communicate out, for data exfiltration or for command and control.
Cool, thank you. So moving to zero trust networks might be an idea. One more question for me. This is from Grant, and this is to Syed, I think. How does elastic security differ from Splunk?
That's a very good question. So, interestingly, elastic security provides like a wide range of different security capabilities built in. So not only does it sort of log searching to be able to actually cover what you need to do, but it goes that step further with a unified platform. So we've got things like machine learning natively built into the platform. We've got all the common schemas, the same things that it's in there. But the difference really is that we've actually got endpoint capability now, as I was discussing earlier from the Endgame acquisition. So it's not just being able to search. We can go one step further by doing real full analysis with things like dynamic rules, with things like machine learning based capability, the equal logic for doing event-based rules and searching. And you're also then able to do things like case management and interface with other things. So it's just nice you've got it all in one sort of tidy platform. It's all nicely joined together, and you've still got all those other flexibilities that sort of Kibana from a visualization tool is able to provide you all on top as well.
There's your answer. Great stuff. Thanks, Syed. Colette, I'm going to go back to you. I think this one's really interesting one, actually. So with adverts around, for example, the British Airways data breach now being on main-time TV, and I saw this recently, I don't know if anybody else has seen this, but there's now adverts out there that look very much like PPI-type adverts. Has your data been affected by XYZ breach? Call us now for a no-win, no-fee type, payment. It seems crazy. Is that the way data breaches are heading, towards the sort of monetized PPI-esque, people taking advantage of that, do you think? Is that a real risk? Oh, sorry, Colette, you've gone all... You've gone quiet on us. I've got you. Yes, far away.
Great. I think any opportunity in the market, it would be silly not to expect people to make the most of that. I suppose with this, what we have with GDPR is we have we have the regulatory input. So we have the escalation to regulators, and the regulators can deal with the breach, and they will sanction the company. Beyond that, under the GDPR, there is also a right to compensation for a data subject, for an individual. So yes, this is a right open to data subjects. So why not have the firms offering to help those data subjects? I think this is pretty predictable. Yeah.
Maybe it's a natural evolution, and maybe that monetization actually, it might potentially mean that the industry takes it more seriously even, which might not be a bad thing. Helen, I'm going to bring you in if I may now. This is a great question again. So, and very on topic at the moment. Will deepfakes and AI be used to enrich the attacker's options? For example, Barclays using voice recognition as part of their when you're logging into your Barclays account. Do you think AI and deepfakes has an impact?
Yeah, I think AI and deepfakes are definitely going to have an impact. I can't really talk about how Barclays are going to use it in terms of their AI and their protections, but I was part of a police cyber conference recently, and they gave an example of how a CEO deepfake had been created, and it was used to target the finance person. So it had everything. It had, I'm on holiday in the Maldives, which was true. I forgot to process this PO and sign it off. It's really urgent. Transfer this money now. And so I think really what we can expect is, as technology advances, it will bring new attack vectors. So I don't want to spread fear that we're all next, and let's be aware of of where our data is, how it might be used against us, and just have a think from a business point of view. How could we be targeted, and where are we exposed, and take protective measures.
I think we probably need to do a whole session on AI and deepfakes, maybe for another event. But thank you for that. I'm going to ask each of you a question, very short one, short answers. Password managers, which ones do you use and which ones would you recommend? I'll go for Ben to start with.
I'm afraid I'm not going to promote any particular tool or technology other than say they are definitely a very good idea. And I commend them to everyone who is not using them already.
Very diplomatic, thank you. It was a very unfair question. Syed, would you like to comment on password managers?
I probably will take the same tact. I know that there are lots of companies that use password managers as part of their offering for shared credentials. So what I would say is you may want to speak to your own company provider around using their own sort of security passwords. Maybe I personally try and avoid browser-based storage of my passwords as a personal thing for me.
Great tip.
Cool. Colette?
Yes, agree on the browser-based comment there. But yes, otherwise, no, not going to recommend anything in particular. They're a good tool.
Great. Helen, last but not least.
Yeah, so I would echo, can't advocate for one in particular, but at LHS we chose ours based on our own needs. So, think about whether or not you need it to be browser-based in the cloud, or is it on devices? Does it have a simple user interface? How does it produce robust, strong, automatic passwords? Think about those, and think about your recovery options and what compatibility requirements you might have for your business.
Fantastic. So some really diplomatic responses there. I'm very impressed. It's, mitigating risk, isn't it? It's all about that. But no, I think we're all in agreement. The password managers are a fantastic thing. They're great. Use them. Multiple password managers are available. But do your homework in the background as to which password manager you might want to use. So final question for me, for you, Colette. And again, this is from Chris in Cheltenham. So he starts with, each of us is a human firewall. An organisation can have the best security system in the world, but if someone opens the door from the inside, it doesn't matter. How can organisations in the current remit working environment ensure their people keep their doors closed? Colette, any advice around that?
So I think, yes, we have the current environment, but the same thing that holds true as it always has done. It's a mix of people, process, technology, and the people is the fundamental part of that. It's people that will drive the process and pilot the technology. So if we're not getting that aspect right, we're going to fail on the other two. So yes, training and awareness, and I know it can seem glib to say that, but training and awareness and repeat training and awareness is so important. And I think right now, when people are demoralized from the circumstances outside of work, from teams being depleted by people being unwell, by members of some of their colleagues being furloughed, the lack of psychological safety is also adding to this. So actually we need to check in more often with our colleagues, more often with our teams, especially those in high-risk roles and those processing personal data, for example. Let's make sure we are still having those contact points and getting our message out. I think we actually need to make much more effort than in normal circumstances. That would be the change I would recommend.
Thank you, Colette. I've got one more question here, and it's a bit cheeky. It's from Chris, and it says, what's the latest news on the Golden Valley project? I guess that's probably designed for me.
That's yours.
As I work in there. Just to say, folks, check the website out. The project is going swimmingly well, lots happening, but that's probably all I want to say at the moment. Check out the website, and we are on social media, and I think there'll be some stuff coming in the next few months.
Yeah.
But back to the panel, thank you so much for all your time and your contributions. I hope that you've enjoyed it as well and it's not been too much of an ordeal. And we will look forward to seeing you again, and good luck in the next phases of your work. Thank you, folks. Bye. And back to you, Chris.
Thank you, Reid. Great stuff. Well, it's been another great session. We hope you've enjoyed it. It's just up to me to wrap up now. Firstly, a massive thank you to Reid. Again, a monumental effort during the evening. I think we've all enjoyed you as our anchor host, and we look forward to welcoming you back for the next one. So thank you. Before we go, though, there's one last thing I'd like to talk to you about, which is the No Child Left Behind campaign. Now, Cheltenham Borough Council recently launched their Laptops for Learning scheme, which has been set up to help ensure local children have access to the right IT equipment for their learning, both at home during the current lockdown and also when they return to school. The vision is that no child should be left behind due to being digitally disadvantaged, and all parties involved in the campaign are committed to addressing this on a larger scale. I was shocked about this, but local schools currently need in excess of 700 laptops and tablets for children. And the campaign is looking for either donations of unwanted laptops and tablets, or alternatively cash donations so that those schools can buy their own IT equipment for children. Now, CyNam is a free-to-attend event. We hope that you've got some value out of this evening's session. What I would urge you to do, if you feel this has been a valuable event, please do donate, either in the form of any laptops you've got lying around your offices or at home, or in a monetary donation to the No Child Left Behind campaign. It will make a big difference to children learning in the Cheltenham and Gloucestershire area, and there's no real greater cause than that. You can donate if you email nochildleftbehind@cheltenham.gov.uk. That's nochildleftbehind@cheltenham.gov.uk, requesting some information. They will send you all the information about the campaign. We will also send you out the information about that fantastic campaign as a part of our emails after the session this evening. So finally, please do let us know your thoughts and any future topics you think might be worthwhile looking at for a CyNam. We've got 2 CyNam events left for this year, 2 headline CyNam events. CyNam 21.2, which will be coming live from the Cheltenham Science Festival. Very, very excited to be there in June, which will be fantastic, especially it's the cyber crocus of hope as we break out from the recession, from being locked down, and the summer seems like a fantastic, but well within grasp now, doesn't it? Summer seems like it's coming up to us really positively. We are looking for event sponsors for CyNam 21.2 and headline speakers as well. So if you want to be a part of an event like today, then please do make contact. We'd love to hear from you. Again, these events are not possible without our sponsors, so please do make contact. If you've missed anything during the show and you want to revisit things, you can get the recording tomorrow afternoon. Amazing how quickly we would do that, but tomorrow afternoon it will be live on our YouTube channel. We will let you know. Other than that, it's just a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for being a part of today's event. We look forward to seeing you at the next one, and goodbye.